Welcome to the latest episode of We Went to Miami. And I believe we have our youngest guest in We Went to Miami history, Marguerite Smith. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm excited for our conversation. Marguerite came not recommended once nor twice, but three times from various people from the Miami community. One of them being my best friend. Shout out Josie if you are listening to this episode. And so I'm super excited to get this conversation, but also to my folks who are listening, do know that we take your recommendation super seriously. And we are so excited for this conversation. Marguerite, for our folks who may not know you, do you mind just introducing yourself to the pod or maybe, allude to why three people would recommend you to be on the show?
Well, I have no idea. Very honored to be nominated by three different people. Thank you, Josie, first of all. But no clue why. I'm nobody special, and I'm a very recent grad. So I love seeing all the very established alumni coming on this pod. So I'll share what I can. But I graduated from Miami May of 2024. I came in looking for a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, came out with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and another one in Engineering Management. So that was what Miami did to me. And now I'm in Washington, D.C. I work in intellectual property law. And I've been doing that for 2 years since I graduated.
Perfect. And I believe you were doing quite a bit outside of your academic career at Miami, which is my guess as to why so many people thought you had a really interesting story. What does I mean, these days people are like, what's your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5? What does outside of work look like for you? And was there a Miami connection there at all?
I would say it's the 5 to 9 before the 9 to 5, and
Oh,
then
wow.
the 5 to 9 after the 9 to 5. So it's two very separate things that are part of my life after the workday and before. So usually in the morning, I am connected. I was a student athlete at Miami. I played on our beach volleyball team and I continue to do that. So my morning is usually training. Usually I'm either at the gym doing one of my lifting programs with my coach or I am practicing. There's 12 beach volleyball courts behind the Lincoln Memorial here in DC. So I wake up in the morning, play from like 6 to 8 with my teammates, you could call them, and then we all head to our day jobs. And then after work, either I have to work late sometimes, that's the nature of the legal field, as many know, but sometimes I'll work late. And if not, I will usually have an organization meeting, which, yes, is connected to Miami. I'm still involved with the Society of Women Engineers. I was involved in the collegiate chapter. I was the president my senior year, was in it all 4 years. Love SWE, shout out SWE. I'm also still involved in IEEE, which is the Electrical Engineering Society, and I still volunteer with so sometimes I have meetings, a lot of virtual meetings after work, so it feels like, you know, work from home after work. But it's all fun, it's all stuff that I love to do that, yeah, I have continued to do post-Miami. I haven't picked up too much new stuff after Miami, it just kind of didn't stop.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's not a ton of free time in the schedule you just defined to me. But also, correct me if I'm wrong, are you involved in esports as well?
So, not esports necessarily, but I have found an interesting corner in the legal field that does deal with video games, which is a passion of mine. So, yes, if I'm not doing organization meetings, work, or volleyball, I am probably playing video games. That is one of my hobbies. And I used to not want to spend too much time doing it, but slowly over time, I found a way to kind of work it into my job. So it's very fun to play and keep up with the new games or return to old video games that I just love and make me feel nostalgic. So big fan of the games, big gamer.
Love that. And we're coming back to that because that's really interesting. But to go back to volleyball too, I mean, credit where credit's due. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you not a nationally ranked volleyball player?
This is true. Yes. And that's like an ever moving ranking. Yep. After Miami, I thought I kind of was done. I played very competitively in college and it was super fun. Also, didn't think I would do that. That was an accident coming to Miami to play. I just thought I was coming to Miami for school. Got to play 4 really awesome years of beach volleyball with a great team, and then graduated, said, "I'm gonna come to DC for work." There's no beach in DC. Probably done playing or I'll in a recreational league. But I quickly was found by a very competitive group here, and we all work really hard to maintain that national ranking. It's done individually, so I would say most of us are in the top 500 nationally, which is really amazing. And then I think my most ranking is in the top 250, so super, super proud of that.
Yeah, and also just something you just glossed over when you're like, "Yeah, I get up at 5 a.m. and I just train with my team, and then I go to my day job." Like, also, like, we're 5 minutes into this episode, and, like, I'm telling you, everyone that's, like, listening so far is like, "Yeah, I do understand why she got nominated by multiple people on the show," because that's just a wild journey, and so, let me backtrack a bit because there's so much to be said here. So, you mentioned that, 1, you started volleyball kind of by accident at Miami. We'll get into that, but also, you talk about your engineering time at Miami, which obviously is super impactful because you're still involved with SWE and the other organizations you mentioned. What brought you to Miami in the first place, and were you gung ho Miami day 1? Did you not wanna go there as much? Like, what was your journey?
God. I am the worst, like, model for Miami because it was, like, my last choice school. I didn't wanna go. I wanted to go far away from home. I'm an in-state student.
You
I'm
and
from
me both.
Cleveland. So I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, I wanna go really far away from home and go out of state." But being the oldest kid and the first to go to school in a traditional way, I didn't know what it costed. I just was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to school out of state." No, that did not happen for financial reasons. It was super sweet, and we're like, "Hey, come for free," and I was like, "Wait, yeah?" But I still was kind of upset about it afterwards. My parents kinda made me go. They were like, "You have to accept this offer," and I was like, "You're right, but I don't like it." And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I tell everybody that, but yeah, I was, like, the worst ever when I was like, "I don't wanna go to Miami." I was, like, upset on my senior year of
Oh,
high school.
100% same.
Yeah, I was, like, so mad I had to stay in state, but I was like, "You know what? It's as far as I could get from home while being in state. Alright, it's free, that's good. I've got a lot of scholarship, that's great. Alright, I guess I'll just go get my engineering degree and be done, and that's fine." And it was, like, the greatest environment, and Miami was the perfect place for me. I couldn't have ended up better anywhere else, and I really don't regret my choice, and I never have. And I think even looking at friends from other schools that I really wanted to go to, I was like, "Wow, my experience would have been very different there, and I'm sure I would have been fine." But there's a lot of benefits for me going to Miami that have really changed where I am now.
100%. I mean, I'm in grad school right now, and even my experience with my current institution, like, nowhere near my experience at Miami, and, like, my commitment in Miami, nowhere near my commitment to my current institution. It's no shade, it's just Miami's a really special place, so I 100% get it. And you mentioned that you got there and you kind of accidentally found volleyball. Were you playing prior? Were you not? Like, walk me through that.
I played growing up, and I played like travel or club all throughout high school. And then around halfway through high school, I kind of picked up beach volleyball instead of indoor volleyball, which is like 6 versus 6 on the floor. And I was playing 2 versus 2 on the sand. So I had played a little bit, a couple years of it before getting to Miami. Really preferred it, honestly, and was like, yeah, I don't know. I need to go do this engineering thing. It's going to be a time suck. I need to just focus. And then I saw there was tryouts for the beach volleyball team, and I said, "Wait, we have a team in this Ohio school? I have to go try out." And it was COVID year, so it was weird, so we couldn't compete, but we could practice, and I tried out and was essentially the only freshman to make it that year, or the only person of my
That's awesome.
my graduating class. Every all years, I was the only person of my grad year, so I was the only senior to graduate my year, but it was very special, for so many reasons, and was totally an accident, but was a great reprieve from engineering and homework and clubs, to just go spend, 2 hours almost every day of the week practicing, training, lifting, whatever.
And mind you, it's not 1 engineering degree, it's 2 engineering degrees you were getting during your time at
That
Miami,
was an
right?
accident. Yeah, that also was an accident. That was a good thing too. But I just came in and was like, "I'll get the bachelor's in electrical engineering," and then I get there and they're like, "Well, you're gonna graduate early." And I was like, "Well, I have a 4-year scholarship, might as well use it. What can we do? Do I pick up a minor? General business minor was, like, my plan." They're like, "Well, you could pick up, like, 3 minors or a major." Another degree program. And I was like, well, let's just go big or go home. So I went for the management, which was split 50-50 in farmer and then college of engineering, which was super cool to get out of the college of engineering, go next door to farmer and have basically the entire business curriculum that they put the like undergraduate kids through and then the business capstone. So really had the full
That's
experience in farmer, I
incredible.
felt like. It was
I didn't
cool.
even know we had that program, to be honest, so that's
It was
actually
awesome. It was really great. I had a whole entrepreneurship concentration and did an entrepreneurship capstone, all things that my engineering classmates were not doing. So I feel like I really got the best of both worlds.
That's awesome. And so you're accidentally getting a second major because you're a ball. You're gonna graduate early, you had a 4-year scholarship, you wanted to take advantage. You're the first person I've met or I've been able to interact with that has an engineering background but went into legal field. Was that always your vision when you wanted to be an engineer? Or, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, in high school, I kind of knew I was like leaning towards a STEM field of some sort. I was really bad at chemistry and biology. I'm very squeamish. So, like, medical was totally out.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, like, where do I apply STEM? What do I do? My dad was an engineer or is an engineer, and he was mechanical. So I was like, all right, maybe I go look at engineering. Coding is really big. Do I go be a computer science student? I took computer science in high school. I was terrible. I was really bad at coding. I'm still very bad at coding. I just like don't enjoy interacting with it. Had to take a couple classes at Miami, but I made it
So did
through.
I. It was rough.
Shout out Norm Crumpy. I took all of his classes and got, like, straight Bs, but I really did my best. Really dragged my GPA, but it was fine. Yeah, I was like, "You know, I'll just go into computer science, maybe I'll be a game developer." That sounds really fun, 'cause I've always loved games. No, that was not the career path for me. I've always been very good at communicating, writing. I just had this knack for writing that I've had my whole life and was like, "How do we use this plus STEM?" And it was my dad who actually came up with the idea, "What if we kinda look at the legal field?" Because he has patents in his name. So he was the engineer, but he said, "I worked with a patent lawyer who had an engineering background to write my patents and get them for me through the government." And I was like, "Wait, that's super interesting. How do I kind of explore this?" So in the summer between high school in Miami, I went to like every small family law firm in my suburb of Cleveland and was like, "Can I intern for you for free?" And so I ended up at a bankruptcy law firm, totally different from what I do
Yeah.
now, but just the law firm environment. And I worked with them, and it was fantastic just to sit in the legal office and say, "Okay, this is a lifestyle I could really enjoy and be good at." I just filed things for them. I did nothing substantive, but it helped me kind of like think entering Miami that maybe the legal field is right. We had a pre-law center at Miami, so I kind of used them to explore it. But I was going for one thing only. I was going for intellectual property or patent law. I am not going to go be a criminal defender, particular vision in mind for my background. And I think they really understood that. So, not a lot of need to explore different kinds of legal careers, but just kind of figure out how to use my engineering background in a way that makes the most sense for me and my skills.
And do you feel like your classes at Miami gave you the remit to prepare for patent law and, like, patent engineering in particular, or was that something you had to, like, supplement outside of the classroom?
No, I think I was really prepared well. They really just wanted me to have a solid technical background and be like a very, solid engineer. And I always was nervous about that because at Miami, I didn't have like a particular focus or a subject matter of interest. I didn't go for the master's in engineering that would maybe give you like that extra level of depth in like one area. But they really liked that because they said, you have to know a little bit about everything in this job. So if we hand you a medical device, you can figure it out. If we hand you something about a television, you can figure it out. Maybe something with Wi Fi, you can figure it out. So I like to say that my education was an inch deep and a mile wide because I
That's
got
awesome.
like one class and everything, and that has really served me well.
And so you knew what you wanted right when you went into Miami, like, you had a very specific vision for your career. You do your 4 years, and you end up doing what you originally sought out to, right?
Kind of, but not in the way I intended. I thought everyone just goes straight to law school right after you finish college. So I went to go do that. I took LSAT my junior year. Everyone and their mom knew about it because I was like, "Sorry, I'm only taking 14 credits this semester and I'm busy. I'm studying for the LSAT." No one bothered me. So I kind of just went to a hidey hole for a whole semester, studied, took the LSAT, did really well. Was very excited. But was like, "Okay, I'm gonna just, apply my senior year and then I'll know spring of senior year where I'm going to law school." Yeah, that's not what everyone does nowadays. And some people do, and it works out great, but a lot of people don't. Gap years are becoming super common, but I didn't know any lawyers in my family to tell me otherwise. And there's also the feeling, are you sure you're going to like it once you get there? You have this vision and this idea that, yeah, I think I could be good at this, but enjoying that career or not wanting to be pigeonholed in that very niche field is a concern as well. So I was like, I wonder if this is the right thing. So I still went and applied to law school. I sent in like 12 applications, spent like a couple $1,000. But then I was like, you know what? My family members were like, maybe look for jobs too and see if there's like a really great engineering job that would just help you out first. And then also be a backup plan in case, like, law schools didn't let you in for whatever reason. You didn't get into law school. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. But I'm going to get into law school. So no problem. So I started looking for jobs and I found my first role out of college, which was being a patent engineer. And I was like, what's that? And it basically was drafting patents, doing what I thought you would do as an attorney, but you didn't need the law degree. They were hiring fresh grads and just they were looking for a demonstrated interest in patent law, which I had. So I applied on like Christmas, got the job offer in February, and said, okay, I'll accept. And then, if I get into law school, I'll just go to law school.
Yeah.
Over time, the more I thought about it, I was very reluctant. I was like, I'm going to go to law school. But so many people in my life were telling me, maybe this is a really good thing. Maybe you can go try it first and see if you like it. And then law school is not going away. It's always going to be there for you. So I withdrew all my applications to law school. I heard some decisions and I heard some no's, some wait lists. I never got a yes. I withdrew before I've heard final answers from a lot of places. So if I had stuck on and waited for another month or a couple months, maybe I would have gotten into law school. I have no idea. But I withdrew and was going to go do this job. But I was, again, very upset about it because it wasn't the plan I had for myself in my head for 4 years. And I was very upset about having to take this amazing job. Everyone in my life is like, "I understand, but, like, you're being crazy." But I just, like, graduated, was like, "Yeah, I'm upset, like, whatever, it's not my plan, but I'm gonna go do this job and see if I like it." Thank goodness. I'm so glad, and the people in my life were really on my side and talking me into this job and telling me, "This is the perfect opportunity. Take it, please. Law school's not going away, and you'll be a better applicant later." So true. So, it was a really great job. I was there until last month. And I'm still working in that field now, just in a little bit of a different capacity, but fantastic, but also accident. I had completely different vision for myself for getting to this point.
And I mean, there's so much to dissect from what you just shared. And like immediately when you were saying, like, I decided not to go and I decided not to pursue, the question that I was going to ask you that you kind of answered on your own was like, was it hard to let go of that vision you
So
had for yourself?
hard.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
hard. I was devastated over it for like 6 months. Like even 3 months into the job, I'm like I all my friends are at school right now, or I know a lot of people from the pre-law program who are in law school, and I didn't get to sign my name on the law school board with my commitment decision. So I was having a lot of FOMO
Yeah.
with like the rest of the pre-law group who went off to law school, and I'm so happy for them and everyone is going to end up where they belong. I was upset that I didn't end up going to
Yeah.
law school that fall like how I wanted. So it was upsetting to do something different than I'd, yeah, envisioned for years. And I didn't let go for a very long time. So yeah, I really clung to that.
No, and like, as you look back, right? Because, you even shared yourself, you're like, it was the best decision for me. And like, I'm so glad I didn't go. But when you're looking at that version of yourself that is like, this is exactly what I expect out of life. I have a plan and I may or may not know there are other options out there, but I, this is what I've always wanted. I have to go for it. What advice would you give knowing what you know now to that version of yourself?
Oh my gosh, I would tell her to take it easy. Like, she's gonna get there. She knows she's gonna get there. And then I was very lucky, yes, to have mentorship and family in my life who are not legal people necessarily, but were like, hey, realistically, it's really good for you to try a job at all, a full-time job. You had internships, but you haven't paid rent and, lived on your own and just worked the proper 9 to 5. And I was like, "Oh, I've had internships. I've done all this stuff." It's very different to take care of yourself for much longer periods of time, move to a new city on your own, buy a car, all those things you need to do as an adult. So I would say just the general act of learning to adult right away after college has been really positive too. So I would say embrace the adulting and how hard it is. And law school is literally never going away. Grad school will never go away. There will always be grad school. You can go later and you'll be better for it.
My vision was similar for myself where I thought I was going to go into grad school like, early college, I thought I was gonna go straight in, and then I had my internship at my current employer, and I saw, like, a real paycheck, and I was like, "I would never let this go." It is
It's
not as
nice.
good. It is, and it's not as good of a feel-good story, quite frankly, but I was like, "Oh my god, this is such financial security." Like, I cannot go be a full-time student when I know financially what I could be doing for myself, and that is not supposed to be everyone's journey. Like, shout out to the full-time students. I see you, I hear you, but, like, for me, I knew that wasn't it, and so, being a part-time student has been really instrumental because I didn't have to give up the check and the benefit and this
Mhm.
cushion it gave me to adult the way I wanted to adult. So,
No,
I
that
know.
financial part of it too is huge, and I didn't have a great foresight for how I would finance law school. I'm like, "Yeah, I go to law school and I will find out how to pay for it." If I got into one of those law schools, I probably would have been paying close to sticker price, which is gonna be like, yeah, $300,000 of debt, or even any amount of debt is ridiculous. I was lucky to graduate debt-free from Miami, which I do not take for granted.
Me as well.
Yeah, I just was gonna, go in guns blazing. Yeah, I'll just take on this law school debt. No, probably not intelligent to like not have a plan. So wasn't well thought out. Just was like, yeah, I'm going to law school. And I told everyone I'm going to law school. So that was part of it too, is you tell everyone you're gonna do something and then you don't do it.
Yeah,
So
it's just
they
like how many
understood my
escape.
yeah, my trajectory changed a little bit and they understood, but it just was like hard telling on my professors who wrote me rec letters to law school. Like, they're like, "How is it going?" I'm like, "I'm not going anymore right now, but I'm gonna go later." So it's just been funny to have that see that full circle. And I was like, wow, I was such a diva about it. Like I was in such a bad attitude, but it was the right thing.
Absolutely, and to your point of, the rec letters, in my current program, I applied, I wanna say 6 months after I graduated, knowing, I wanted to be hybrid. I also knew if I waited too long, I would never go back to school because I would just enjoy not having to be an academic anymore.
It's been nice.
Um, I can't wait 2 more years for me, unfortunately, but I'm in the thick of it, and, I was very lucky that President Crawford wrote my letter of rec, but
He is
now
the best.
he's the sweetest, and every time I see him, he's like, "How's school?" And, like, it is always in the back of my mind. I'm like, "I have to do well because this man is going to ask me how it's going, and if I tell him it's not going well, like, that is just so unacceptable in my brain." So, like, to your point when you're like, "And I had letters of rec, and I had to go back," like, I get it because, like, again, like, he is the kindest human being ever, and, like, I still have, like, some sort of fear around, like, disappointing him, which is so silly, and he would never think that, and, like, I could tell him I flunked out, and he'd be like, "Yeah, it happens." Like, he would not care, but it's just that fear of perception that I feel like is so strong, especially at Miami where you're surrounded with just the most incredible people all the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, for you, you decide, "Hey, law school's not for me." You moved to DC, you've been in Ohio, I'm assuming your whole life based off the Cleveland,
Mhm.
Oxford.
Yep.
How was moving to a new city? Was it exciting? Was it harder than anticipated?
I was born to be a city girl. I tell
Yeah.
everybody that, but they make fun of me because 'cause they're like, "You're so Midwest in so many ways," especially my friends here who are maybe coastal people their whole lives and are used to being city people, but I'm like, "No, I'm a city girl now. I live here, I work here, I'm a city girl." It's been super fun, and I did my darndest to get on the East Coast for my internships every summer. I got pretty darn close. I was in Baltimore for one summer of internship, and then I was in Allentown, Pennsylvania, pretty close to the New Jersey border, for another intern, which was great. And that's how I fell in love with the East Coast and how close everything is to each other. When you're driving, flying, everything's so close, all the cities. I was like, wow, it would take me like 4.5 hours to drive from home to Miami in the same state, take me 4.5
Yeah.
hours to get there. And now I could be in New York in 3, and it's pretty phenomenal. But the city itself is great. It's full of young professionals. Everyone's very driven, very career-based city, and the pace of it has been so fun. For my first job, I walked to work and,
That's
found
awesome.
a studio apartment nearby and, like, just did the city living, and I've been loving that. It's been so fun. It's expensive, but it's fun, and it's been really great to, like, yeah, learn how to take care of yourself, but also you're in a good environment where, like, public transportation's a thing. So fun. I love the metro because I had never taken a train before, so that was, like, a bit of a learning curve, but you get used to it very quickly. It's very easy in DC.
That's awesome. And like, I feel like a lot of people when they move post grad, I feel like there's two extremes. One is like you just found your people immediately and it was very seamless and you had all the friends. And then the other is like I had to really actively struggle to find community in order to find it. Where did you land? I know a theme that you've shared is like a lot of things happen in accidents to you. And I think you mentioned
Yeah.
even like playing volleyball in DC was very accidental. But how was finding community for you when you graduated?
Yeah, so I would say my community of friends still is very based on my athletics. That is really my group of friends are all volleyball players as well. And I fell into that because I was taking a walk around the National Mall, walking by the Lincoln Memorial. There's a beach volleyball tournament happening with so
Oh,
many
wow.
people outdoors on like a random Saturday. And I'm like, what is going on? I have to go see what's happening. And you walk past, I go to the tent and I go talk to her. She's one of my close friends now, and she was running the tournament. She's like, we have a high level group of girls here. We play in the morning before work. We have a tournament every month here. We travel up and down the East Coast and even across the country for these big professional competitions. Did you say you played in college? And I was like, yeah, I did. So that's how I got into our group. It's a very core group of, I'd say, around 10 to 15 girls. It varies. Level of interest varies. Some people don't want to compete. Others really want to go for the pro events and the pro tour, which is super cool to be a part of. And it's just a really awesome group who would, you know, wouldn't rather be anywhere else at 5, 6 in the morning in the summers than on the beach court behind the Lincoln Memorial. So they have become my social friends as well. That took a little time beyond sports. We'd show up and practice together all the time, but slowly we've started becoming social friends. And I'd say professionally, not a lot of young people my age. They're all attorneys, so they've been through law school, I have families. So I wasn't finding too many friends in the professional space. I got close with our paralegals. They were the best and are the best. So they are typically in their 20s, younger girls and guys, but generally found a lot of my friends through sports, which I think is a really great way for people to connect, even if only recreationally. It doesn't have to be at such a high level like we play.
Absolutely. I mean, even when we started off this episode, you mentioned there's the 5 to 9, then there's your 9 to 5, and then there's the second half, the third, the 5 to 9 once again. A question I get a lot as well, but I'd be remiss to not ask you for our listeners is like, how do you balance it all?
It's hard. And I think that last 5 to 9 in the evening is the one that kind of changes the most. I try to be disciplined in the mornings, but sometimes you're just too tired and you're just not going to get up and go to the gym to lift. Your body needs a break. There's a level of social pressure for showing up to a practice where other people are counting on you to show up. So that's what gets me out of bed. Otherwise, if it's just me trying to get out of the bed in the morning, it's really hard. I don't like doing it. But I think I need the either the financial pressure of like I have to show up because I paid for this coach to help me train, or I have to have the social pressure of these three people are counting on me, or they can't practice with at all, and they just got up at 5 a.m. for no reason. So I have to show up. So I think that helps me get out of bed in the morning, but it's not like I naturally enjoy it or anything. It's just that's when it fits in my day best, and I have a really productive day after that. Work is work, and people are very understanding that my work can sometimes go late, especially in my new job. My afternoons are very unpredictable, but every once in a while, I try to just have like a vegetable day and just lay down on the couch and do nothing. I'm
Yeah.
home from work
Good
at
old couch.
early at 6. Yeah, a little couch rot. So I'm gonna lay on the couch. Maybe I'm gonna go play some Sea of Thieves, play some video games, just something to like relax me, not do anything productive. And other nights I'm like, oh, I have like 4 meetings tonight for different organizations. It's a busy night after work, but I'm gonna be doing that late. Then also family, partners, things like that. You have to balance your relationships. So that's really tough too. And all I can do is my best. Trying to focus, job is A1, like professional life. Volleyball, I love to call it a close second, but really I would love to call my relationships my second and volleyball my third.
That makes complete sense. And like, were you someone who has always juggled many things? Which I'm assuming like the answer has to be absolutely because you had two majors and you were playing volleyball at Miami. And like college social pressure is so much stronger than I feel like post grad social pressure is because at least like we all have 9 to 5s or we're all doing something versus in Miami. I felt like there was little to no excuse to not go out after like a 12-hour day because we were all like, it's just what we do. But has anything changed in how you manage or how you approach or how you balance post grad? Or do you really think it was Miami and like your work ethic from the beginning that like conditioned you to be the way you are right now?
No, I've always felt that I'm better when I'm busy. When I'm not busy or I don't have much going on, I'm not productive and I don't have to be necessarily, but then I just don't really do anything. And I get so much done and I'm also happier and healthier and doing more things socially. I naturally want to be an introvert, but I force myself to go out and be social and see people even when I really, really, really don't want to. And being busier helps me do that. So, getting volleyball or training out of the way in the morning means that I can focus what I need to focus on work. And then after work, I either do something social or do something very not social if I need to recharge. So I would say I was like that at Miami, and there was a forced level of, I'm going to be in the lab all night with this engineering project. You have no choice, but you're in here with a solid group of partners who are like, three other guys who are in there with me, and we're bonding and we're ordering pizza. And yeah, not too many opportunities to celebrate and go out down or uptown, but I would sneak it in there when I could. And, I think I really made the most of my Miami experience by staying busy. So no time was wasted.
I love that, and I definitely really heavily you mentioned, like, the recharge, and I feel like the one part of your what I'm considering is, like, the trifecta of your life right now is video games. So, 1, is that, like, your recharge? And also, like, in the beginning of the podcast, you were like, there are some video games that are just pure nostalgia. Does that mean you grew up playing them? Like, share a little bit more about that if you don't mind.
But yeah, I grew up playing games. It is absolutely my recharge. I can play it alone. I don't wanna play games collaboratively, not
Okay,
always, at
so you're
least.
not
I wanna play by myself somewhere quiet and, there'll be other people on a game server or something, but no, like, I want it to just be me in my space playing. So I really enjoy that and prefer that. Yeah, it is my rest and recharge. I've been playing since I was a kid. I grew up playing with my brother. He and I just grew up and we would sneak down very early in the morning to play before school. So it can be a fun thing to play with others, but for me, it's become an act of rest. And I really like that. But it's also something I really have always enjoyed. Didn't think it would come into my professional life, but in my first role, we had some video game attorneys at my firm and they were really awesome. And I was like, how do I do what you do as a job? Like, they're like, yeah, we play some video games during the day. We get to work with these really cool video game clients, these video game developers, publishers. That's part of our job. And I said, how do I do that? That sounds amazing. It's not as glamorous as it sounds, and the real portion of your day is not spent doing video games, but for that small portion, that you are, it's super fun and very, I don't know, gets you out of bed in the morning. So I had a chance at the end of my last job for probably the last year to work with these guys. They were super nice. And they have since started their own video game law firm. So they're killing it with their startup law firm. I did not join them. I moved on to try a different role, but maybe in the future I'll return to games. But it was super fun to see that you can work in games and in the legal space at the same time. And I kind of just fell into that world. It's a very small community, but they're very welcoming. And I'm starting to build a name for myself as someone who's got that interest. So it's very cool.
That's awesome. Also, for our listeners who are not watching this episode on Spotify or YouTube, I have to acknowledge that Marguerite was a pro. My camera fully died during that and had to switch over to my laptop. And I was panicking, but Marguerite, literally cool as a cucumber, kept going over answer, was not like, where the heck did the host of this show go? So shout out to you, Marguerite. Thanks for not
Keep on keeping on.
um, yeah, appreciate it. And for everyone who is watching video, sorry, things happened. I guess my camera just died. But to get back to what's actually important, which is Margaret's answer, I love that. And I don't think you mentioned this, but what games did you grow up playing?
Oh, my favorite game of all time. I try and tell everybody. It's called Wizard 101. And it was like, yes, it was so popular with like our gen back in like 2010. It came out around 2008. And it's just like a cult classic for me personally. I think there's still a group of people who play. And it's solidly growing because they just came out on console in the last like year. So if you ever want to join, go wizarding, questing again, you can play on any of your consoles now, but it's always been a computer PC game. And I still play like almost every week at least. And I just love revisiting that. Every time there's a new update every fall, everyone knows don't talk to me for like 2 weeks. I need to finish and get the next 10 levels that just came out. I need to finish the new quests. I'm busy. So that's my like favorite of all favorite games. They have a sister game called Pirate 101, very similar. Love it as well. But those are, like, my favorite of favorite games growing up. But it's also, like, a family bonding thing. We grew up playing, like, Rock Band, which is kinda like Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Like, games are just, I think, a really great way that I bond with people, and it brings people together. So, always just been a family thing growing up. It just brings me joy.
I can't say I was a huge gamer growing up, but my claim to fame is I did own a GameCube up until 5 years ago. I'm very upset I don't have it anymore, but it went to my niece and nephew who I think deserve a GameCube. Um, but I
You're
loved
a
playing.
certified gamer if you have a GameCube up
I
until
don't know, I had
2021.
Super Smash Bros. Melee, which was really fun, or Melee, however
Amazing.
you're supposed to pronounce that. And then I was a really big Pop Tropica kid, which I don't even know if that counts as a game.
Yes, it counts. So I like to say that everyone's a gamer in a sense, even my Grammy. She plays Candy Crush every day, and
Ooh,
that means
okay.
you're a gamer. So gamer includes so many people more than you realize who play phone games. You know, the Wii was a big deal for everybody as a kid. And then before that, even like the Game Boys of all sorts, the DS. It's just really for everybody. It's not just your hardcore esports people or your people who, I only play PlayStation 5. No, it's for everybody, no matter your console of choice.
I love this. This is good to know because I also inherited a Switch last year, and
Amazing.
I am not using it to its fullest potential, but, like, maybe I'll go see if I can play Wizard 101 on my Switch.
You can now. You can also play Animal Crossings. That's my big fave on the Switch. I love Animal Crossings. I always just work on my village once in a while.
See, okay, Animal Crossing, I never really could get the j I felt like I had no actual task to do. I felt like the
No, you have to sell your soul to Tom Nook, who
Yeah, and I was just like, "Why is this?"
landlords you.
But I think I need to give it, like, another try as an adult. Like, I just think as a kid, I was like, "I don't like it." Like, I was like, "That's too slow." But I think as an
Give it
adult, that would be
the
a good
New
move.
Horizons the fair chance it deserves, and, sell
Okay.
your soul to Tom Nook, give him all your bells, do all your fishing, talk to all of your residents, and kick them off the island, or do whatever you need to do to make them happy. Give it a fair try.
Okay, that's my homework. We have, this funny running list where it's, like, usually a guest will, like, mention some sort of movie from the '90s that I've never seen, and it's like a running joke on our Instagram page of, like, things that I need to do after an episode. Playing Animal Crossing, Morgan, our social media manager, if you're listening to this, let's add that to the Instagram.
Play some Animal Crossings or go back to a Zero 101, very welcoming to new players these days with everyone coming back to console.
Yeah,
Start
I'm gonna
over.
enter
Start a new
my
wizard.
yeah, I'm gonna enter my gaming era thanks to Marguerite.
Yes.
But to kind of wrap this episode up in a bow, usually what we do is at the end do a Miami rapid fire. And it'll be interesting to do this with you because you graduated not too long ago. But I still think you'll be surprised at your own answers. And I think our listeners will be too. I'll
I
start you off
remember everything.
easy. What would be your perfect day in Oxford, Marguerite? And you can time
Ooh,
travel and you can control the weather. These are often follow ups I am asked.
okay. Perfect day in Oxford. Definitely has a beach volleyball practice in there on a lovely, warm, sunny day. Because, temp's not always great in Oxford, but in
Was
the
this
springtime or the fall. Oh, no, no. We'll do like, you know, a decent early morning, like a 9 a.m. Like,
okay?
I
Cool
got no
choice.
class. I'm going to play in the morning. Let's do that first. Then let's stay sandy all day. Let's go take a walk to Armstrong. No day is good if it's not slightly productive for me. So I've always got my laptop on me. I want to sit outside on the patio on this lovely day. I loved the Armstrong patio. That's just I
It's
was always
gorgeous.
outside until my laptop would die because I had no way to charge it. But, as long as they would last, I would sit out there, and I would love to sit outside kind of facing south. So that was my favorite patio. I would sit there at Armstrong, grab something to eat. I love a milkshake. So Polly's milkshake. I used all
Please.
my dining dollars even until the day I graduated on milkshake. So
I
that's
love
my
that.
ideal. Then I would say junior year living in a house with friends was my favorite living experience. So I hope that I would return to my roommates and we could spend some time. I was always so busy that we hardly got to spend some time together, but I enjoyed the moments where we were all home together and got to do that. And then I would say from that afternoon to evening, I would love to go uptown for dinner. I would say my ideal dinner uptown. Oh, this is so difficult.
It really is, 'cause Uptown's got some good spots, actually.
I know this is so tough, and I'm gonna go with just like my basic classic. I'm gonna gonna go to Skipper's and just get something really greasy, probably a
Yeah,
burger, just something classic.
that's
Need
perfect.
it, love it. And then I
You're the
just always
second
found
guest
myself
you're the second guest this season that has said Skippers would be, like, the place to go.
I'm not surprised. I just want something that's really bad for me. Especially if I played volleyball, I worked out that day, I
Yeah,
earned my
you got
treat.
calories.
So, yeah, I need my calories, I burned them. And then I would say, um, I had some of the most fun experiences, like, as part of my student organization, so hopefully I lead a SWE meeting that night because I'm in charge that year, and it's a Wednesday, and it's been a lovely day, so we're all gathered with some free food from, like, the local place we catered, like Chick-fil-A or something,
I love it.
because that was what we did that Wednesday, we had a SWE meeting. So, I would say that is my ideal day. It's really pretty casual, but also some of my favorite moments. And food,
I
favorite
love it.
food too.
Okay, that was a good day. I too would enjoy that day.
It's chill, it's chill. No class that day, obviously.
No, there's no time for class, please, you were busy.
Yeah.
My second question for you is, if you could start a business uptown, what business would you start?
Ooh, well, okay, so I think since I've graduated, people have beat me to it. Do they have Pilates now?
They
I
do, they
feel
have
like
a student Pilates
okay.
street.
Yeah, I
You
felt
can
like
start
that was like a missed
competing. There's only one. I mean, you can't open another one.
well, so my winter time, like, I'm so sad it's cold outside and I can't play volleyball very often. I can only go to the gym or work out. Activity was core power yoga. There's just one near my place where I live here in DC, and I was like, "This is great. It is enough of a workout where it's like an active rest day. It's not too hard." So I want to bring some yoga sculpt to Oxford, Ohio, because it was a very good like break for me. I love the heated room. I don't know why.
It's
I
so
just like
good.
really like that it's warm. And then my favorite part is, of course, the shavasana at the end where I lay on my back and close my eyes and do nothing. So I'm going to bring core power yoga to Oxford and compete with the Pilates studio because my introduction to yoga, which I'm very bad at for the record. I have no balance. It was really ugly. So many girls were really good at yoga, but it was just about me enjoying the space there and also being motivated to wake up early in the morning because I could sit in this hot room and get a light workout. Like it was really great.
I love it. The heated Pilates studio in Oxford, watch your back. Marguerite's got a plan.
I know. Yeah. Core power. Sorry. It's a chain, but I'm going for it.
No, and that's okay. There ain't no shame in the chain. And my final question for you today is looking back on who you were at Miami and looking to who you are now. If we have a listener and it is peak graduation season for our seniors, a
It
couple
is.
who do listen and they're soon to be Miami alumni, just any short piece of advice you'd like to give them as they embark on beginning adulthood, real
Yeah,
adulthood.
I think Miami will stay with you, and I obviously am not very far removed from it, but it's come into my life in very strange ways. So every time I get to like I'm at a new job now, so I looked at, who went to Miami at this law firm. It's all public with lawyers, so you can Google them. So I just Googled, Cleary Gottlieb, Steen and Hamilton, Miami University. We have two lawyers here who went to Miami back in the day, and one does like national security law, so completely different from what I do. He and I had coffee last week just to meet because he was in the DC office. So it was great. And then my manager actually, who's an attorney as well, but said, "Did you go to Miami?" I said, "Yeah, the one in Ohio, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, I went to Miami." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh my God, I had no idea." But she ended up being my direct manager. Funny small world. And then interviewing for other law firms. I had an entire interview with a guy who said, "Do you know the Crawfords at Miami University?" I said, "I do. I'm not sure if they know me too well, but yeah, I do know them." And he was like, "I was the first PhD student of President Crawford when he was at Brown."
Oh,
And so all we did was bond for an interview. I got that job, it was great, but I didn't take it. But just it will find its way to you. So I would say, like, be proud of going to Miami. It obviously wasn't my first choice, but I'm so happy I ended up there. It worked out so well in so many ways, and I'm just so thrilled to still be connected to Miami in a lot of ways. I would say also without trying, Miami reaches back to me in a lot of ways, which I think, it should go both ways. So now I'm on the Young Alumni Council of the College of Engineering. That's been so fun to kind of give back to the graduating seniors or even the upcoming classes and kind of think, how can we like keep them retained and like involved in the college? And like what makes sense programmatically to, help people as they do the adulting stuff because it's hard no matter where you go. If you stay local, live at home, it's really no easier in a lot of different ways. So Yeah, take it one day at a time and, lean on your Miami family.
I appreciate it. And if folks want to stay connected with you after this podcast episode, what is the best way to do so?
I'm so on LinkedIn, and I hate to say that. Like, I hate being like a thought leader. That is a terrible word and term to me. So people make fun of my LinkedIn stuff a lot, but it's really gotten me very far in terms of building a network of people who I can either provide assistance to who are interested in doing what I do, or just have something they would like to learn from me, or also receiving help since I'm so young and early in my career. People are very willing to give their advice once they see that I'm busy on LinkedIn and stuff. But my DMs on LinkedIn are always open to everybody, and if not, I'm sure you can find my email as well. I'm sure it's on the internet because I have a public profile for my firm as well. So I'm just available.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Marguerite. I feel like a lot of listeners are one going to be in awe of all of the cool and amazing things you do. But at the same time, I feel like you've dropped so much wisdom and knowledge on balancing life, post grad life, and just being okay with plans changing and going with the flow. At the same time, like re-upping your plan, structuring your day, ensuring time for rest and recharge. There's a lot of knowledge here and a lot of wisdom, and I know our listeners are going to be better for it. So thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you. That makes me happy. I'm definitely not the perfect role model for, when things go different in life. I would not call myself nonchalant or calm, cool, and collected in a lot of ways, but you find your way to manage and figure out what's best. And I'm really happy so far how my career and life in general has turned out. So just trying to have fun in my 20s and also do well and find what makes me happy. And I think that
Love
matters a
it.
lot.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on We Went to Miami. Like what you heard? Share it, sub it, hype it up. Till next time, love and honor.